Hey, how is everyone? Sorry I'm a little bit late. It's having some technical difficulties. I think it's all worked out now. So, hello and welcome to Waves of Healing Video Music Podcast. You can catch us here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and also catch the recordings if you can't be here when we stream. I'm Gary Chatham, and I'm a transformational life coach, wellness coach, Reiki master, and a musician as well. And you can find my site at garychatham.com. I also do another video podcast that I'm just getting started, Waves of Transformation, and it has its own Facebook group, which also streams on my YouTube channel. In that one, we talk about body, mind, spirit, wellness, personal growth, and spiritual growth. Music and sound healing is becoming more popular, and it's recognized in mainstream culture. Music therapy is becoming an important specialty in counseling and mental health. And my vision with Waves of Healing video podcast is to bring you not only new music, but some classics in the genres of new age and chill out, meditation, chanting, sacred music, and some uplifting pop as well. So it won't all be mellow meditation music. So if you've noticed, most music podcasts and YouTube channels about music don't include the music, and that's because they're not licensed to play the music. And licensing is very expensive, so we don't do that. We're not licensed to play the music, so what we do is I post this YouTube playlist here in the bottom, and let me get that for you. So you listen on your computer or another device, and then you can listen as we go along. So there's the YouTube playlist. So I'll also put links to each CD on Amazon after the broadcast or as we go along. So I can respond to you if you chat with me in Facebook or YouTube. So I will see your comments and respond to them so we can have a dialogue as we go along. So tell me in the chat below if you're getting everything, if you see everything, and we will start in 1 second. So I'm going to go ahead and start, and our first song is a song by David and Steve Gordon, and it's their song Guardian Spirit from the Sacred Earth Drums album. So a lot of drumming is big in the New Age music movement and goes back to shamanic traditions. Major artists in the world of New Age, ambient electronica, and healing meditation music for 3 decades. David and Steve Gordon are renowned as visionary artists, and they established Sequoia Records back in the 1980s. They continue with a number of intriguing instrumental CD releases. Their albums range from meditation music to albums like this one with tribal and shamanic drumming. And high on the list is a 2013 CD entitled Chakra Balance. With Chakra Balance, the sound weaves its way into the realm of ambient electronica and crosses over and appeals to listeners that like Brian Eno and Steve Roach and John Siri, those kinds of artists. And another recent release on Sequoia Records is the 2013 CD Deep Healing Elements, Music for Meditation and Reiki, also by the artist known as Shajan. And David and Steve, like I said, started in ambient world music and electronic music, and Sequoia is their company. So they've got a large catalog of artists. So David says, while we do our ambient music such as Chakra Balance, music for meditation, and inner stillness and celestial Zen do not include drums, we've always used keyboards and other instruments to create drones and atmospheres that were influenced by progressive rock styles. And in some ways, they're influenced by progressive rock groups such as Yes. And they're and they say, Steve Gordon says that Yes is one of the first New Age musical artists with the introduction middle section of songs like Close to the Edge. That also features ambient music and even nature sounds. So talking about this album, Sacred Earth Drums and Drum Medicine, he says we use tribal drums differently Then on our other world music albums, instead of a lot of upbeat, fast drumming, we use the tribal drums to play slow, heavy, hypnotic beats that combine with the low ambient drones to create a large cosmic sound and evoke the feeling of shamanic awareness. And many of those tracks include electric guitar in the style of progressive rock guitarists like Steve Howe in Yes. So the drumming combines shamanic drumming with also healing energies and elements. So let's go ahead and listen to Guardian Spirit by David and Steve Gordon. I will come back when the track is done. If you're just joining us, we're listening to the first track on the YouTube playlist, the Dave and Steve Gordon track. And I'll come back when the track is done. So welcome. So listen on the YouTube playlist below in another window or on a separate device. Since we're not licensed to play the music on Facebook. And post your comments and discussion in the comments below, and I will come back when we're done listening to the track. So say hi, let me know who you are and where you're from. Hey, if you're just joining us, I'm silent between tracks. We're listening to the first track now, so you can listen on the YouTube playlist there below. And we're about halfway through the first track, so please listen, and I will come back when the track is done. Okay, I'm going to pop back in because I started late. So if you didn't get to finish that track, please go back and finish it at your convenience later. Next is Samantha James, who I call Sammy James because she's a Facebook friend of mine, and she's one of my very favorite artists of any genre. And I'm hoping to have her as a live guest on here on the podcast sometime. And I've told her that her music and her voice has healing energy in it, and I know that's her intention. She's in music to help other people. Samantha is known for her style of blending down tempo and up tempo dance music and soulful vocal styles. And she released her debut album Rise in 2007. The title track from the album was released as a single in the prior year and reached #1 on the US Billboard Hot Dance Club Songs chart. During her teens, she became heavily involved with the underground dance scene in LA, and her musical influences include jazz, dance, and pop artists like Pat Metheny, Sade, Tracy Thorn, Lady Miss Cure, Madonna, Morcheeba, and others. So at the age of 13, she lost her mother to breast cancer, and after an 8-year battle, she's worked on her music for that 8 years, and she met Sebastian Morton, who has worked with artists such as Sting um, and Fishspooner, other well-known artists. After a while, James and Morton came up with a mix of soulful music, soulful vocals, and electronic music. And she worked on her second album, which was released in 2010, called Subconscious. Um, and that album was released after she took some time off. And now she's taken a lot more time off. I know that she's been traveling and recording in different countries all over the world and is ready to make an announcement about a new album here in the next month or so in 2021. So her album Wings of Faith, or it's actually a single, Wings of Faith, off the second album, was dedicated to Japan after the tsunami in March 2011. So the first video is a video introduction about Sammy, and it's an interview. So let's go ahead and play that. That's second on the song list here. Hello, going to pop back in here. We're running a little bit late. So, we're talking about Samantha James, who is a Facebook friend of mine and is known to her friends as Sammy. And even though it's been about 11 years since Sammy has released her second albums, in the last year alone, she's had 1.9 million streams and 273,000 listeners from 92 countries on Spotify for 154,000 hours. Sorry, I'm getting echo here. She's taken a lot of time off to travel and has been recording songs in different locations with different producers all over the world. And I know she's been in the studio with one of my very favorite music producers, Miguel Miggs, in the last year. And she says a new album is coming soon. And she's planning, like I said, an announcement for later on this month. So the next song on the YouTube playlist is from her first album, Rise, and the song's called Send It Out to the Universe. And this is one of her more upbeat songs, but that positive healing energy is still there. So let's go ahead and listen to Send It Out to the Universe by Sammy James. If you're just joining us, we're listening to the third video on the YouTube playlist below. Send It Out to the Universe by Sammy James. You're about halfway through that song. So I am silent between songs, and then I come back when the track is done. Okay, I'm going to jump to the next track here. So thank you for joining us. I am silent between tracks as we listen to them on the YouTube playlist below. So right now we're coming up on the fourth track, which is by Andreas Vollenweider, and the song is called Pyramidions, and it's from the album Quiet Places. Andreas Vollenweider was born in 1953. He's a Swiss harpist, and he's generally categorized as a New Age musician, but he's worked with a lot of pop artists because he plays a modified electroacoustic harp of his own design. And he's worked with Bobby McFerrin, Carly Simon, Luciano Pavarotti, and in 1987, he received the Grammy Award for the album Down to the Moon, which I had that one. Vollenweider's style has been described by the New York Times as swirling atmospheric music which invokes nature, magic, and fairy tales. And he says that he loves to see holistic and spiritual techniques validated by science, and he tries to get a spiritual response and invoke even altered states of peace with his music. And his style, he's been described as weaving elements of European classical and folk music, sometimes third world vocal and percussive effects and natural sound effects into different musical suites. He's one of the first musicians categorized as New Age, quote unquote, although his earlier recordings appeared on the jazz Billboard charts. So let's go ahead and listen to Pyramidions by Andreas Vollenweider, and I will be silent while we listen to the track, and I'll come back when we're done. Okay, that track is over. That was Pyramidians by Andreas Vollenweider. And our next song is some real meditation music from another very well known New Age artist, Dean Evanson, in collaboration with the Chinese artist Li Xiangting. Hope I said that right. Buds on Trees in Springtime is from the much anticipated follow up album um, to the award winning Tao of Healing album. And this collaboration builds multicultural bridges of peace between East and West. It's ideal for yoga, feng shui, and all the healing arts, and Reiki as well. And it's definitely stress relieving. Dean Evanson is known and has won lots of awards through the New Age genre. He's a musician, composer, producer, and also videographer. And he has a master's degree in molecular biology. I always like knowing more about the artist than just what kind of music they do. He's worked in Manhattan as a recording engineer for Atlantic, and he's worked with many recording artists as an engineer, like Eric Clapton, Mose Allison, and Roberta Flack. He plays several instruments, including the silver flute, the Native American flute, synthesizer, and keyboards. I guess I think of him more as a flautist. In the New Age genre, his music generally sounds like nature sounds combined with flute, melodies, and other instruments like synthesizer for ambient meditation, massage, relaxation. In 1979, he and his brother founded the independent record company Soundings of the Planet, which still exists and is doing well. And over the years, he's collaborated with many world class artists as a musician and a producer. The Chinese musician featured on this album, Li Zhangting, I think I said it right again. He's the master of the guacan, which is a Chinese seven-string zither. Um, and there's also Native American artists and Russian artists on this album as well. The Dalai Lama even appears on one of Dean Evanson's albums. He's also collaborated with Hungarian pianist Tom Barabbas and trance guitarist Scott Huckabee, and Tim Alexander, who is the drummer from the rock group Primus, which is totally hard progressive rock, so completely unlike his other work. So, Soundings of the Planet, his record company, has a couple YouTube channels, and you can find both music and nature videos on them, and they have archived videos as well. So let's go ahead and listen to this song, Buds on the Trees in Time of Springtime. And I will come back when the track is done. Well, because we're running a little bit late tonight, I'm going to pop in here and talk about the next song. It's funny, I've done live radio before, but I have not done live video, so it's funny being on camera in between songs and having me be on the screen when you're just listening. But anyway, our next song is another song by Dean Evanson, but it's very different. And this song is called Sacred Healing Grid. It's from the Healing Resonance album. And this is drawing on decades of friendship and award-winning collaborations between Dean Evanson, Scott Huckabee, and Phil Heaven. They create a tonal journey that's both meditative and uplifting. And you add guitar harmonics, flowing flutes, and viola melodies. This album uses steel percussion, like a steel drum, and called a pan drum, and adds unique timbres into the music with lingering resonance. So this music, this particular CD is great for meditation, yoga, relaxation, healing, and Reiki. So let's go ahead and listen to Sacred Healing Grid, the next song here. The next song is by a new group from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I just came across them. And the band is called the Song Gardeners, and the song is called Love Flows. They're a musical trio, like I said, from the Bay Area, and they feature singer-songwriter Corey Dunn on vocals, piano, and guitar, and singer-songwriter Mary Gospe on vocals, guitar, and percussion, and Chris Day on bass. And the original songs are filled with positive, empowering messages, beautiful harmonies. The band's first two singles were released on June 18th, 2020, and Altered State, their next to last one, was released on September 15th. Love is the Magic of Change on November 11th. And an upcoming single is supposed to drop today. It's called Warrior of Light. It's supposed to come out today on the 21st of January, 2021. So the combination that brings the music to the ears is the singer-songwriter playing vocals, guitar, and Mary doing lead vocals, Chris doing bass, and there's additional guitars by David Scheibner. So let's go ahead and listen to Love Flows by the Song Gardeners. So that was Love Flows by the Song Gardeners. And our last song for tonight is Hopeful Bliss by Ronald van Derzen. He's a pianist, composer, and music teacher from the Netherlands, and he makes music for film, documentaries, animation, and other media projects. He's also worked with several bands, live orchestras, and released various albums in the areas of New Age, global fusion, jazz, progressive rock, contemporary orchestral music, lots of different genres. His general sound is also compared to Thomas Newman, David Arkenstone, who we've listened to before, George Winston, if you know him, he's a popular New Age pianist, and Keith Jarrett, he's a jazz pianist. And in 2020, Ronald won the OWMR Oneness Award for his piece Hopeful Bliss, this song representing uh, hope for global harmony and peace. And he was a bronze medal winner finalist with a special mention for composition for originality and creativity from the Global Music Awards. Ronald's currently writing music for an upcoming New Age world music fusion album. And he experienced with a blend of electronic and acoustic music, sound art, synthesizers, and all different recording techniques as well. So his contemporary art music evokes a sound similar to Philip Glass or Steve Reich. And within contemporary music, he immerses himself within the technology of abstract music. And he uses sound sculpting techniques as well, such as frequency modulation, sampling, um, adding things, subtracting things, creating new sounds and textures. And then he uses in his soundtracks as well. So let's go ahead and listen to the last song, which is Hopeful Bliss by Ronald van Derzen. Okay, we're coming up at the end of that song, and that's the end of our podcast tonight. We're a little bit late, so I apologize. I was having some technical difficulties there in the beginning, but thank you for coming and thank you for listening to the replay. Please leave your comments about all the songs in the comments below on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Gary Chatham. I'm a transformational life coach, and healing is part of my practice with people, emotional healing. So music is a big part of that, and music has always been one of my other loves. So come back, and we will be here in 2 weeks at 7 p.m. Central Time on Thursday night. So thanks for coming, and I will see you later.